Hey everybody, I wanted to record a little video for you. First of all, welcome to the new members of our group. We're excited to have you here. I wanted to record a video about Jurassic Park and Goldilocks. So these are kind of two random stories and random pieces of stories that can apply to our parenting. So the first one is the scene from Jurassic Park where the raptors are in their cage and the game warden comes up, the Grants are visiting, and they feed the raptor, which can feel a lot like feeding teenagers, I imagine. If you put food out, it's all gonna be gone. But the game warden comes up to the Grants and he's talking to Dr. Grant, and he says that the velociraptors were systematically testing the fences, that they were very smart, and that if they fed them a certain way, then the raptors would test the fence for weaknesses. And then he says they remember. And a lot of times as parents, we fall into the trap of thinking that this is what it means to parent teens. That we're essentially setting up this big fence for our teens, and they're gonna just go around and systematically check the fence for weaknesses. And there is some level of truth to that. Teenagers do test boundaries. That's what they're meant to do. It's what they're supposed to do. It's the way that they are gonna exert their independence and have autonomy from you. However, there's a lot of problems to parenting teens this way. One of them is that it turns into a big game of chicken. So our teens start focusing so much on testing the fence for weakness that they forget why the fence is there. Why are we creating fences? Why are we creating boundaries? What are we trying to keep our teens safe from? And if they start focusing on whether or not they can break through that fence, if they can win, if it becomes a big game of chicken, then we're not teaching them what they need to know. The second problem is that it's reactive. If we create this fence for them and they start testing it, we're waiting for them to find a weakness and then we're reacting. So let's say you decide to take away your teen's phone and then you find them sneaking an iPad. This has happened to us. So our daughter was trying to find a weakness in the system, and so then she used an iPad instead of using her phone. Another problem is that we feel like we're failing if they find weaknesses. So it's all up to us to keep our teens safe. We're the ones building the fences. We're the ones trying to keep our teens safe. And if they find a weakness, we're failing. It's a very kind of fixed mindset to parenting, that we're creating the system and then we're failing if our teens break the system or if they find their way around the system. So let's talk a minute about, the final thing I wanted to say was that it's not two-way. It's the parents creating the fence and the teens rebelling against the fence. It's not a two-way street. So I'm gonna talk for a second about Goldilocks. So Goldilocks is an odd story to me. I've never really understood the point of Goldilocks. She breaks into this bear's house and eats their porridge and sits on their bed and sits on their chairs and whatever. But the good thing about Goldilocks, and the thing that I wanted to talk about, is that she first goes in and she tastes first one porridge and it's too hot. She doesn't like it. So she tests another porridge and it's too cold. She doesn't like that one either. So she goes and she finds a third option that's just right. Then she tests the chairs. The first one's too big and too hard. She doesn't like it. She tests another chair. It's too soft, but it's still too big. She finds another chair and it's just right. Then she tries the beds. You can see where I'm going with this. She's not a failure for laying on a bed that she doesn't like. It's either too hard, it's too soft, it's not right, and there's no problem in her continuing to test different things that work until she finds something that's just right. So the analogy here is that a lot of times we come down on our teens and we're way too strict and it doesn't work. And then we need to loosen up, and sometimes we loosen up too much and then we're not strict enough. And then we try something else until we find something that's just right for us, for our teen, for our family. And that's the way to go about parenting. So I challenge you to kind of think about this analogy just a little bit and think about ways that it could apply to you. It encourages trial and error. It encourages allowing our teens to have a say. When we find something that's too strict, we can sit down with our teens and say, hey, we tried this. It didn't work. I don't like it. Do you like it? What's your opinion? What do you think that we should do? And you can apologize to them. You can model how to apologize, how to work with other people, how to compromise, and then you can try something else. And if that doesn't work, then it's a growth mindset. You learned what didn't work, then you learned what didn't work again, and then you finally came up on something that did work. Chances are in a couple weeks that won't work either, because teens are growing and we're growing and everybody is learning and improving. But if you keep testing, and you don't see the testing as, oh no, the dinosaurs are going to get out and they're going to eat all the people. Instead, it's just a matter of testing things that work until you find something that doesn't work, and then you test it again. So hopefully this analogy is helpful to you. Thanks for watching.